Hey, appointment setters, here with MPS and obviously Richard James.
We're going to walk you through the intakes room, 11-step system, step by step, what the 11 steps are. MPS, he is our in-house expert and coach. If you've been around for a while, you've probably seen his face before. Welcome, Michael.
Hey, super excited to be here. So yeah, we're going to walk through what the 11 steps look like and the importance of them. To work toward mastery of the appointment setting process, which means mastering your set rate, mastering your show rate. And the reason this is important is because you're important. You are the connector. The first line of defense when a new prospect calls your law firm, you are the one that answers that phone. And you've got a prospect dealing with a difficult time in their life or potential future difficult time in their life that they're trying to avoid. And you're the first connection to make sure that they get set up for a consultation, and we could hopefully help that prospect move past that difficult time to a brighter future. This is vital because when you do well in your role, not only do you help that prospect, and of course it helps the firm. And when the firm does well, that creates good energy for the entire environment. It allows the firm to reinvest back into the client experience and the team. All of this comes together with you and making sure you master your craft. So that's why we're here today, Rich.
Yeah, I completely agree. We've got 3 basic C's, right? We have the crew, right? The crew is you and your team, as MPS said. We have the company, right? The company is the profit center from which everything else works. So the company's got to be profitable so we can reinvest in you, more team members, more marketing, more growth, to finally help the clients. And so the clients have to be helped at the highest level. So when you do your job well, you get the 3 C's knocked out. So Michael, we're going to break down the steps like 1 through 11 and give them some examples and explain them, correct?
Let's do it. Step 1 of the 11 steps is smile. There's a difference between answering the phone with, hey, this is so-and-so law firm, and hey, this is Michael from MPS Law. A prospect can hear that smile through the phone. Remember, your prospects are dealing with a difficult time. So the last thing they want is more negativity in their life. They want to answer the phone with someone who thinks that they can actually help, right?
Now, here's a little inside pro tip. How do you make sure you smile? Put a mirror in front of you. I highly recommend you do it when you smile because smiles matter, right, MPS?
They sure do. It sets the conversation off on the right tone, which makes it easier to move into step 2, which is harvesting the data. This is really important because your law firm invested or maybe didn't, and it's a referral, but you've got a lead coming in, and your responsibility of the appointment setter is to get the contact information. This is important, A, so that way we have a way to contact them. 2, because your law firm invested in some type of marketing, whether that's time, money, resources, to generate those leads. This is a vital step because you've got leads calling in, and you've got to have a way to actually communicate with them, right? So we've got to collect their contact information and verify their details. Rich, anything you want to add on the importance of it?
No, just wanting on what you said. Look, a lead in a law firm could cost $50, $100, $200, depending on the type of law firm that you are. And if your job is to make sure that you harvest all the data about every single lead every single time, and you don't do that, that means that you cost the firm the ability to get all that information. I don't know about you, but you can only cost so many $100 bills for a firm before they start to have a serious conversation with you.
All right. That leads us into step 3. Ask the referral question. The referral question is important for 2 reasons. It helps us track the lead source. Where did this lead come from? Was it someone that referred them to us? Was it Google? Was it some sort of marketing material? And we're thanking them for the referral and making sure we make it clear that our law firm likes to treat people that refer business well, which plants the seed in their head to refer future business and shows that we treat those referrals well. So it creates this good ecosystem of a referral culture and sets the tone right.
And so all the way through the process, when we're communicating with the client, we want to remind them that we accept and expect referrals. We want them to refer us business. And so make sure that you start off this referral process the right way by sticking to step 3.
Step 4, the introduction. Plain, simple, and clear. How does your firm differentiate itself from other firms in the area? What is your unique competitive advantage? This is our time to let the prospect know they've called the right place. Our firm's got experience. We've handled this before, and this is why we're different than every other firm. It needs to be straight to the point, but deliver it with authority so they're confident in that next step with your firm.
This is your opportunity to brag. If you want to be specific about this, if you've served 1,100 families, if you've eliminated millions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars in debt, you want to use these types of numbers. This is the opportunity to set up that authorship, celebrity, and expert status, that ACE principle. If your firm offers a book or an ebook or it's written white papers or recorded interviews about this subject, this would be the time to drop that bit of knowledge so it sets them up as a credibility source. If you get this right, it sets the rest of this up very well.
And then that brings us into both step 5 and 6, which we'll get to in a second, the relationship building in the hell and the heaven. We're trying to identify and articulate their pain point. What's keeping them up at night? What's their biggest fear in all of this? But more importantly, so we're not just asking that question and then bouncing over to the heaven. We're asking clarifying questions. We're asking relationship building questions and getting deeper into the pain point. And this establishes trust with the prospect. It also makes it a lot easier when we go into the next step of heaven, but then actually going for the appointment. We've established that trust. They feel more bonded. This step actually anchors a more successful show rate for us, because when we've created that relationship, they are much more likely to show to an appointment with us because they felt like we were caring, we heard them, and there's that trust and bond established there that most other law firms miss, which is why your firm is different in this scenario. Anything else on that one, Rich?
Yeah, a couple of quick plus ones on this. Tonality is a big deal when it gets to the hell and the heaven section. Oftentimes, you're talking to people in a difficult time, oftentimes the most difficult time they've ever been through. You might have to soften your voice. It depends on the practice area, depends on what we're dealing with, but you have to watch your tone. Remember, you're a salesperson, whether you think of yourself that way or not. You're selling the firm and convincing this person why they should retain the firm. The way that you do that is by asking questions. If you get 5 right with the tonality, questions, and parroting correct, it leads into step 6 well,
which is the heaven. The heaven is the flip side, right? We just moved from the hell, and then we can even use that flip side as a transition. Tell me, on the flip side, what would your ultimate goal look like in this? What would a win look like to you in this? We're trying to get what is their heaven, what is their goal, but they can't achieve that goal because of the position they're currently in. We want them to articulate that and make it clear, and then that gives us an opportunity to clarify that. Hey, perfect. So just to be clear, sounds like you're looking to accomplish X. Is that right? So although you run this structure and this script every single day, this is their very first encounter with you. So don't forget that when you're speaking to a prospect. Anyway, that does set us up for the next step, which is step 7, ask for the appointment. Hey, it sounds like right now you're trying to move away from hell and toward heaven. Would you like to explore what that would look like in our firm? Through using that approach, we're clearly demonstrating that we listened and we cared enough to know exactly what their hell was, exactly what their heaven was, and bridge over to actually setting the appointment. And the most natural answer in that question is always a yes, which seamlessly sets you up for the next step. Can you see a trend here? Every step sets you up for the next one, right?
No, I think you nailed it. This is the part that the winners get right. You'd be surprised how many appointment setters don't ask. They don't also bridge over with the explorer. Those little soft skills like bridging over with the explorer covers a multitude of sins and allows you to transition well and then ask for the order. Now, there's the right way to ask for the order, and we're about to talk about that in step 8.
Step 8 is offer something and something, which means we should always move over with 2 options. So I'm looking at the calendar here. It looks like I've got a slot this afternoon and I've got a slot tomorrow. Which would you prefer? What do you have tomorrow? Do you prefer morning or afternoon? I prefer morning. Great. Looks like I've got a 9 a.m. or a 10 a.m. Which would work best for you? You're always giving them the choice between something and something. When you ask a yes/no question, you might get a no. When you get a no, it's hard to bounce off of that. When you ask a choice of something and something, you're always going to get an answer of something or something. And so that's why we do this. Rich, anything you want to add on that?
So we maintain control while giving them the illusion of a choice and triggering this psychological opportunity for them to feel like they're in control when really we're in control. Used improperly, it can be manipulative. We're not being manipulative because we're using psychology to help them get what they really need, which is help from our firm.
And then that brings us into step 9, explain the next steps. This is really important because this is now where you're bridging the gap. You've set the appointment and now you're clearly explaining what they should expect next. No one likes they book something and then are unaware of what happens next. This is important for show rate. Because if we don't clearly explain the next steps, oftentimes the ball gets dropped, and then because of those unknowns or confusion, they just don't show up because they either don't know how to show up, where to show up to, And so this anchors really strongly that show rate. We need to make sure we're clearly articulating after we set the appointment, hey, here's what's going to happen between now and the date of your appointment. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. We're just clearly explaining those next steps so there's no question marks after the appointment.
I would just add that there are two areas you really have to memorize. That's the introduction area as well as this explain area. Many of the other areas are a conversation and you're leveraging their words, but this area needs to be memorized and scripted precisely. The reason for that is they're calling a law firm. They are calling you because they're in disarray and unorganized, and they're relying on you to be organized. We need to be an example of the fact that we're going to be organized from the very first phone call forward, and we're taking control. This is important because they actually do want, in this particular case, for you to be in control. And you need to be professional, you need to be articulate, and you need to be precise every time you do this particular section. If you do, you're going to set up the next section for a win.
And then step 10 is ask the do you promise question. This is a really important step. Now we've set the appointment, we've explained the next steps. Now we want to get their promise. So many appointment setters get tripped up here because they think it either sounds weird or they don't know how to ask it in the right way, or they don't know why they're doing it. The reason we ask the promise question is a promise holds weight. Most people don't want to break a promise, and we want to make sure they show up to their appointment. It's very simple. Hey, life gets busy, so can you do me a favor and make me a quick promise? If something comes up, can you call us or text us ahead of time so that way we can free that spot up for another family that might need our help? Can you make me that quick promise? And because we're using the word promise, it holds weight. Again, people don't want to break promises traditionally. So it increases the likelihood that they're going to show up. And if they can't, they're going to communicate with you that they can't rather than just completely ghosting you.
A promise triggers a emotional response, literally an automated response in a human. And it's much like the animal kingdom. There are things that happen in the animal kingdom that trigger a response. There is something in the human kingdom that triggers responses in humans, and the word promise is one of those triggers. Don't forget to use this. If you want to increase your show rate, use the promise. Said differently, if you want to make sure your show rate plummets, go ahead and don't use the promise.
And I'm going to add one more. That doesn't mean, hey, can you do me a quick favor? And just leave it with favor and avoid the word promise. It completely defeats the purpose. That's the word you need to use. And then that sets us up for the step 11, wrap it up with a bow. We want to reassure them that we paid attention, that we listened, and bring summary to the call. So this is basically where we're reassuring them, hey, we understand you're going through hell and we know you really want to be able to get to heaven. We just want you to know we're here for you. Looking forward to meeting with you on blank date and time, right? We're reassuring them that we heard their hell, heard their heaven. We demonstrated back to articulate that. Rich, anything you want to add?
Yeah, this is where the real professionals separate themselves. The ones who get this right, everything about their world soars and gets better. You can actually start to maximize your conversions and position yourself in your firm to be raised up to the next level if that's something you desire and your firm has an opportunity to do because you're a professional. The ones who don't do this are simply not professionals. They don't get it. Either A, they weren't listening, or B, they don't care. You build that relationship, that person is showing up to that call, and you'll know you get this right if your name is Mary when they walk in the office or they go on Zoom and they say, Mary was fantastic. I'm telling you, do this right. Follow these 11 steps. People will start mentioning you by name, and it's going to put yourself on a trajectory where the company's going to do better and make more profit, where the clients are going to do better because they're going to retain the firm, and you're going to do better both financially and in your growth path with this company. Master these 11 steps. Do what Michael and I just told you today, and I promise you're headed in the right direction. If you'd like to learn more how to stand out from the crowd, maybe create an authorship celebrity expert, micromanage the client experience, but you're not exactly sure how, visit us at thelawfirmsecret.com, and we'll be happy to walk alongside you and help you build your firm one marketing system at a time.